Okay, welcome back to OK Tech. This is part 3, introduction to Microsoft's spreadsheet program, Excel, which is used for numerical data processing and recording, for example, in areas like accountancy, finance, scientific calculations and analysis, production of charts, calculation of statistics, financial work, business data, and so on. Everything quantitative. In the first two videos, I introduced just the basics of the interface and some of the basic options for data types, navigating around the interface, zooming. I briefly introduced cell referencing. So, for example, this is cell J2, which is highlighted, which means it's in column J and row 2. This is cell A5, and so on. And I talked through, you could highlight cells, columns B and C, rows 5 to 8. So that gives you a selection of 8 cells. These cell references are the basis of most of the powerful calculations that you can do using spreadsheet software. So, for example, if I just type some numbers in, as these spreadsheets grow in complexity, you'll be increasingly relying on what are called formulas, spreadsheet formulas. You probably know the word from mathematics, so in maths something like E equals mc squared is a formula, and you have these symbols. Energy is mass times the speed of light squared. It's a similar thing. Spreadsheet formula is also with symbols, and the symbols are either the names of functions or they are the names of references to cells. And there's various rules you need to know in order to how to write formulas in order to get the result you want. So the simplest possible formula would be B2, and it actually shows you, it highlights that cell that it's referring to. And all formulas will start with an equal sign, and then they'll have this mixture of functions and cell references afterwards. And it can get quite complicated, but there's lots of simple introductions we can do to show how it works. So equals B2. Well, the answer to that question, for the value that's about to, you see the cursor is still there. That means that you're still typing the formula. Once you press the enter key, it means you've finished your formula. So then it will give you the answer of that formula in that cell. So at the moment it's equal to B2. So the answer, once you press enter, is that value, B2, which is 1. And if we were to put another formula over here, equals B2 plus B2, what that means is it's the value in B2 plus the value in B2 again. So just like in maths, that's going to be 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Press the enter key, 2. You do multiplication, B2 times 5. So it's the value 1 times 5. Press the enter key, so it's going to be 5. You can make more complicated ones. Equals C2 plus D2 plus E2. And it's now highlighting. You can see the first reference is blue, so it's highlighting it helpfully as blue. So that's 1 plus D2, which is green, it's highlighting it green, plus 2 plus E2, which is highlighting it kind of pinky purple, which is 5. So 1 plus 2 plus 5 is going to equal 8. And basically all the mathematical operations that you wish to make are the plus symbol, the minus symbol, the multiplication symbol is that, so it's the asterisk, and the divide symbol is hard to actually type on its own because it has a meaning, but it's that, so it's the /. So if you want to make simple formulas out of cell references, these are the 4 symbols that you will use. Okay. So I mentioned that formulas can be made out of cell references and out of functions. I'm going to talk about functions in a moment. I'm firstly going to show you a little trick. Suppose you wanted to copy across twice the value of all the numbers in this column. So the formula here, yeah, another little trick. You've typed it, but it doesn't. You can edit it. So it's up the top here. You can click there and edit it, or you can click in the cell and edit it. So if you want to change that to become twice the value of B2, you'll put times 2. Multiplication is the asterisk. So now it'll say 2, and there's the formula up there. Or if you wanted to edit it, you click there. Press the enter key each time. Suppose you wanted to do it for all of these values. It would be quite tedious if you had to type equals B3 times 2 equals B4 times 2 and so on. That would be quite tedious. Excel makes it easier. You can click on this little square at the bottom right. If you ever see that little symbol or any other little symbols around these borders, it means there's something you can do, and if you click right you might get a menu, or if you click left, what you can usually do, there isn't a menu for that one, if you click left, what you can do is hold that left mouse button down, and then you can drag like that, where you basically pull the mouse towards yourself. Keep holding the left mouse button down, don't let go of it. When you let go of it, that dashed border will go black, and what it's done is it took the bit which was the reference to the row, which was B2. So when it was in cell B2, that's where you started, that formula was 2, and it looked and it said, the row's changed to 3, so I'll actually change the formula to B3. And then it looked on the next one, it's like, the row's changed to 4, so I'll actually change the formula to B4. So rather than you having to type all those formulas, all you have to do is click on the cross, keep the left mouse button down, drag it down, and when you've got to the bottom of the row, you release it, and it's copied that number series. Okay, so what about functions? Well, functions are words written out in full in Excel, and this builds a more complicated formula. And what you end up doing is combining the function words with the cell references. So these are all the names of some simple functions. Excel's function list, the way you find it, you start with the equals, and then if you start typing just any letter you like, you'll see all the possible functions. There are loads of them, there's literally hundreds, and there are guides on what they all mean on the internet. I'm just going to use some of the most common. So there's lots of statistical distributions, all sorts of special cases and special functions. So a really simple one is sum, and then for every function it's always open brackets, and then you look underneath, it gives you an example of how you could use that. So it could be number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 10. That's one way. But a smarter way is to use what's called cell ranges, and to select a cell range you click at the top, keep the left mouse button down as usual, go down to the bottom. When you've got the range you want selected, you'll see that the way it writes it is C2 2.C7, that's C2 colon C7, and that means it's going to add up all those numbers, 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus 10 plus 12, and then press enter. 42. Another function, product, same thing, select your cell range with the left mouse button, press enter, and it will take the product of all those 2 times 4 times 6 times 8 times 10 times 12, which is a pretty big number. And the third one, take the average, 2, 4, 8, 10, 12. The average of that is going to be probably 7. Press enter, and you'll notice you didn't need to type the last bracket. That is actually, you could type it, but you don't need to. Excel will just complete it when you hit the enter key. So that's 3 simple examples of Excel formulas, and also how to drag a formula down. In the next talk I'll go on to some more complicated examples of formulas, where it starts to get a little bit more useful for the kinds of stuff that you might do when you're doing real calculations. Alright, cheers.